Amidst the dreams, this young man suddenly woke up to find himself lying on a grassy field with many people around, staring at Li Changsan like a strange creature. System notification. Achievement unlocked. Rebirth with memories of past life. Reward memory retention all stats, +5. So these things also became achievements. The people around started to panic suddenly. A gate appeared. I've never seen this happen before. Chang Xian still didn't pay much attention to the people around him. He was just thinking, brown eyes, speaking Korean, I really came back. This feeling is so refreshing. But as soon as the system announced Area 1 opened, Chang Xian immediately jumped up and sprinted forward like crazy. Everyone was confused by this reckless action. They felt this man looked familiar. Could he be a tyrant? Although full of energy after running a short while, Chang Xian already felt out of breath, exhausted. He thought he needed to check his body condition first. Request to open system window. System notification cannot open window. You don't have permission. Your permissions have been partially revoked. System is updating using admin privileges. Your status window has opened. Finally, the system panel appeared. But strangely, Li Chang Xian titled Twilight of the Gods had errors in title affiliation. Strength, dexterity, vitality, divine power, skills, unreadable privileges, unreadable, everything, showing errors. What happened to what the king of the underworld promised me? Just as he was hesitating, the system notified that the window had refreshed with updated data. Li Chang Xian titled Twilight of the Gods title not affiliated with the underworld strength. 1. Dexterity. 3. Vitality. 2. Mana. None skills and privileges. Soul collection. Level 1. New execution sword. Level 1. New. As Chang Xian closed the skills window, system alerts kept popping up detected by Black Mamba Snake. As soon as it saw Chang Xian, the snake opened its terrifying mouth and lunged as if to devour him alive. Chang Xian was not afraid at all, instead showing some amusement. He needed to get stronger as fast as possible. The best way was to kill monsters for experience points. Thinking that Chang Xian didn't hesitate to use the rusted dagger, delivering a basic strike that instantly killed the snake. System immediately notified you have defeated the Black Mamba Snake in one strike. It was a perfect attack. Reward received low-level dagger technique skill strength +2 agility +2. The Constellation Snow Wild Beast has taken an interest in you. Chang Xian smiled quietly and resolved, besides getting stronger as fast as possible, he must become the rookie most noticed by them. The dungeon is both a cruel disaster for humanity, but also an opportunity opening right before their eyes. The same applies to gods and constellations. They use dungeons to select believers or clerics for worship and to spread faith. The gods also choose apostles, those they love most and who carry out the gods' wishes. Many long for power from gods or constellations and risk entering dungeons, but many also die there unnoticed by any deity. For arrogant gods and constellations, ordinary beings aren't even glanced at, let alone favored. Only a few humans are lucky and faithful enough to meet the necessary conditions, or can prove exceptional talent like Chang Xian currently. A series of excellent recent performances by him have attracted the attention of a god. System notification, Snow Wild Beast. God is interested in you, Chang Xian smirked. Snow Wild Beast, huh? That's like hitting the jackpot. Chang Xian knew this god. Her real name is Pabinsa. She is a war goddess owning thousands of weapons and loves hunting. But the jackpot Chang Xian mentioned is actually Pabinsa's mother, the chaotic evil dragon Tiamat. Chang Xian guessed he must have hit the jackpot right from the start. Probably his dagger skill attracted her. Sure enough, the system notification confirmed his guess. The Snow Wild Beast god is curious about your hunting skills. Chang Xian waved the knife in his hand, smiling softly, and said, I'll show you what you want to see. Next, Chang Xian continued to scout the forest. There was a stream of blue air that caught his attention. Half of the outer edge of this forest is enveloped in poisonous gas, so surely the monsters around here must have strong toxins. Chang Xian analyzed this and lifted his chin, wondering in that case Plan C is probably the best option. Just then, 2 Black Mamba snakes launched a surprise attack on Chang Xian. As if he had anticipated it, Chang Xian gripped his dagger tightly, quickly spun around into a combat stance and opened his mouth to use the snake hunting strategy strike like rustling grass. Come on. Next move. Chang Sional jumped high to dodge the bites from the two black mambas while swinging his dagger in a long slash along one snake's body, killing it instantly. The system notified that the low-level dagger skill was activated and you successfully killed a black mamba snake. Congratulations, you have earned experience points. The remaining black mamba also couldn't escape the same fate as its companion. System notification congratulates you on earning experience points and leveling up. Then, due to the scent of fresh blood and the recent fight, several black mamba snakes rushed out of the forest. This was exactly what Chang Sional wanted. Holding his dagger, he was like a grim reaper wielding a divine scythe, reaping the lives of the black mamba snakes. The number of black mamba snakes kept increasing, but Chang Sional was not afraid. His face was cold and alert, continuously moving through the swarm of black mambas like dancing the death waltz. Where he passed, which snake could survive in front of him? System notifications kept appearing. You have leveled up. You have leveled up. You are killing nearly the entire black mamba swarm. The owner of the forest edge, your sensory perception has become sharper thanks to the battles. You now have better focus. After a while, Chang Sional suddenly stopped because there was no black mamba snake left around him. He scanned around and saw the remaining black mambas looking at him fearfully. System notification: black mamba snakes now regard you as their natural enemy. You have successfully instilled fear in the black mamba species. The title, Black Mamba Butcher, has been created. The Black Mamba Butcher is a title given to hunters who have killed over 100 black mamba snakes. The title ranks as a power effect that causes fear in snake-type monsters. Chang Xian also had no intention of sparing the remaining black mamba snakes. Their fear and hesitation only excited him more as he charged forward to hunt them down. Inside, he was wildly screaming, "That's right. That's exactly it. Kill after kill. This itchy, intoxicating feeling, isn't it? The scent of battle that I had forgotten? Whether in Acadia or here, it brings a terrifying yet different sensation. It's also a pleasure for me. However, everything was destroyed when I was captured by those damn gods. They imprisoned me on the grounds that I was harmful to the world, and eventually sentenced me to death. In truth, they feared an ordinary existence that could stand on equal footing with them. At first I had no intention, but if that's what scares them, then that's what I will do." Because the human body is still quite weak after a long fight, Chang Sional felt a bit tired and paused. System notification: low-level dagger skill has reached its highest level. Unlocking a higher level skill. Medium-level dagger skill has been unlocked. The hedonistic god Tiamat was very surprised by your skilled dagger use. Your stamina is depleted. You are in an exhausted state. Please find a safe area to rest. It's too early to be surprised. Chang Sional smiled softly and said. He stretched his arm forward. From the bodies of the black mamba snakes rose streams of energy converging toward his hand. System notification. You have activated the infernal soul fire, soul forcing skill, and obtained the remnants of the black mamba snake's souls. You have recovered 5% stamina. You are no longer in an exhausted state. The hedonistic god Tiet is surprised and wonders what your skill is. Chang Xian clenched his fist, feeling his stamina briefly recover. He smiled and continued slaughtering the black mamba snakes. In his heart he thought, of course she wouldn't know. This is an exclusive skill I got from the king of the underworld after all. Maybe she thinks this is just some attribute or skill I got when I first awakened. No matter how curious she is, she can't directly meet me to greet because she's still bound by the rules of the divine messenger. No one is crazy enough to break the rules just to check the info of some newbies. After a while, Chang Xian stopped panting heavily. No matter what happens, I'm not too worried thanks to the awesome system I got from the underworld. Without it, my status window would have been revealed immediately. Silently, Chang Xian stabbed the black mamba snake that tried to ambush him with a dagger, ending the fight. System notification: you have defeated the last black mamba snake. You have earned a new achievement. Reward for hunting 444 black mamba snakes. Power +5. Low-level poison resistance. Chang Xian was happy. He opened the system window to check his personal information. Li Chang Xian. Divine title: Twilight of the Gods. Cannot use the title of Black Mamba Snake Hunter. Hell Link level 6, power 14.2 plus 10. Agility 16.2 plus 10. Stamina 13.9 plus 10. Magic 0 plus 10. Cumulative stats 35. Skill sheet intermediate level 3 dagger technique. Effect sheet low level poison resistance level 1. / decisive sword level 1. Special info: a god has taken an interest in you. You can increase favor with this god by fulfilling their wishes. Looking at his profile, Chang Xian smiled slightly and said, "My skills and stats have increased quite a bit. Wow, I even gained some magic points. From now on, I can use skills freely. Best of all, Pabinsa has taken notice of me. Good." Then he fell into thought, after the black mambas, it will probably be the red mambas and finally the blood serpent. Luckily, I got low-level poison resistance, so this hunt will be much easier. The blood serpent is a huge boss. It's the leader controlling the mambas. It sounds unreasonable to meet it before reaching level 10. Chang Xian's goal is to solo kill the blood serpent. This will definitely be a huge opportunity to make a name among the gods. But more importantly, it's the venom fang of the blood serpent. He needs to get immunity to poison as soon as possible. One reason why Twilight of the Gods was defeated is because of extremely poor poison and curse resistance. Chang Xian won't let himself make that mistake a second time. With an angry face gritting his teeth, Chang Xian silently vowed, "I need the fang of Gaia's curse to overcome that curse." At that moment, the blade of the weapon in Chang Xian's hand shattered into fragments and vanished. System notification. The rusty beginner dagger's durability has reached its limit, and it was destroyed. Looking at the dagger handle in his hand, Chang Xian sighed. Well, it lasted this long, that's pretty good. Suddenly a weapon flew down from the sky and embedded itself in the ground at Chang Xian's feet, startling him. He focused and looked again, then opened his mouth in surprise dragon scale pattern. If so, this must be the weapon from Tiamat. What are they thinking? System notification. The god Lakthu-Tit has sent a gift and placed a bet on you. If you fail and waste his time, he will kill you. Ouch, so the price of failure is my life, huh? Gods really just see other creatures as garbage for their amusement, nothing more. That's why I hate the gods and celestial beings. But maybe that's for the better. If I go the right way, I'll gain a lot for the future. And above all, the Tiamat dagger. Owning this is the greatest gift for me, I think. Chang Xian didn't hesitate, picked up the weapon and said, "All right. What do you want me to do?" System notification. You have accepted the bet. The god Lakthu-Tit laughed and was very pleased with your courageous spirit. The Hunter Certificate mission has been generated. Sometime later, a large crowd gathered at the starting location. Suddenly, someone shouted, "Everyone, please gather here." Everyone suspiciously turned their heads to look back. What's going on? Someone else wants to be a leader, huh? They saw a person in a military uniform holding up an ID card. He loudly introduced himself. "I am Lieutenant Park Hee-seong, a Class C player under the Awakening Force directed by the National Army. This is an emergency situation, so please follow my instructions." People around whispered, "That's lucky, at least there's a player here." "Yeah, I think so too, but I wonder if that guy is okay." The one who ran straight into the forest just as the mission started. That guy hung hope nothing bad happened. Maybe he thought he could find something good inside. A young man wearing a green jacket had been sitting silently under a tree. Hearing that, he finally spoke. At least he owns a much larger fortune than everyone else. Someone curiously asked, "Huh? How can you say that for sure?" The young man in the green jacket casually walked over to answer. "His name is Tyron. He is the leader of Stben." Someone recalled Holin. "Oh right, I have seen him before." Although his private life isn't great, he got many advertising offers because of his handsome appearance. He's also a spoiled rich kid. Why would someone like that suddenly run into the forest? The young man in the green jacket grinned and replied, "I heard he became an alcoholic after retiring from competition. Maybe he's just so bored with life that he wants to kill himself." Then a young man in a red jacket came up behind the green jacket guy. He quietly said, "Hey, quiet down. Why do you keep rambling like that?" The young man in the green jacket unhappily retorted, "What did I do wrong?" At that moment, a system notification board appeared in front of everyone here. All black mamba snakes have been eliminated. Everyone's eyes widened in shock. A brown-haired girl asked, "Everyone is in the safe zone, right? So how come the monsters were killed, but this is just the beginning?" Every few minutes, a new notification appeared. White worms have been eliminated. All blue crows have been eliminated. Red mamba snakes have been eliminated. Quickly, player Li Changxian became frantic. Bakha, a motorbike taxi driver, frowned and silently watched the system board. The young man in the green jacket bit his teeth in disbelief and said, "Why is everything like this?" Time rewinds to when Chang Xianul just received the mission from Lakthu-Tit. He was forcibly using soul power on one side, restoring stamina on the other, checking the Hunter Certificate mission system. The description said because the development of the god Lakthu-Tit in the divine chart was stagnant, he wanted more disciples and priests to improve the sect. However, all current talents were already protected by other supreme beings. In desperation, he found you Lak Thu Teet, who was considering you someone with excellent hunting skills. Could become his disciple, but it won't be easy. You need to prove your ability within 24 hours from now. You must hunt the blood snake using the dagger given to you. Failure means death. Success means the option to become a disciple of the evil dragon's fang. So that's how it is. No wonder she was interested in me from the start. Didn't expect her situation was that bad. Thinking back, Tiamat and Ben Madad had a huge conflict before. Could that be related to this? On one side is Ben Maddock. He is the strongest zodiac in the 12 zodiac signs Taurus. On the other side is Tiamat, the primordial evil dragon mother of Lak Thu Tet. Chang Sional felt intrigued silently, thinking that although not sure he might gain from this. Then Chang Sional looked at the new weapon in his hand. This thing isn't just some mediocre weapon, huh? System note: Fang of the Evil Dragon. The primordial evil dragon used its fangs to create this dagger as a gift for his beloved daughter. This thing has its own personality, a sacred dagger-class weapon. Damage is incalculable, effects unknown. This weapon is currently borrowed and cannot use the dagger's primitive traits because the player hasn't met certain conditions yet. This is exactly what I want. But adding a gift would make it more fun. Thinking that, Chang Sionul grinned and said, "Hey, are you interested in a side bet?" System notification: the snow deer. God tilts his head, wondering what you mean. Chang Sionul speaks for 30 minutes. System notification: the snow deer. God doesn't understand what you're trying to say. In 30 minutes, I will defeat the blood serpent for you to see. So please reward me generously. Chang Sionul made the offer and calmly waited for the result. Not long after, the system notified that the snow deer god laughed at your proposal. The snow deer god has accepted your request. However, he warns that the death penalty for you will not be peaceful. Having achieved his goal, Chang Sionul smiled, said thanks, then grabbed his weapon and rushed toward the target. Chang Sionul's first monster mission was a moonworm. He took only 3 moves to finish it. System notification: power level up by 3. Next was a flock of blue crows. Although numerous, Chang Sionul's rank had already increased. His physique improved. Moreover, the weapon in his hand was much better. When facing the black mamba snakes, the result for the blue crows was no different than for the mambas. System notification: stamina level up by 2. Rumors about your bet with the snow deer god are spreading in the heavens. Some other gods are very interested in your combat experience. Some gods stroke their chins as they witness your martial talent. After defeating the blue crows, Chang Sionul's cold gaze glanced at the system notification board. Smiling, he continued toward the blood serpent's location on the road. If he met a monster, Chang Sionul would use the fastest speed to deal with it. Finally, he saw the blood serpent, the mission target. He didn't immediately attack, but hid behind a tree waiting. Here it is: more spectators, more benefits. System notification: the snow deer god is annoyed by these uninvited guests. The snow deer god is warning other gods that you already belong to him. Chang Sionul smiled silently, wondering how many gods would take an interest in this matter. Hopefully there's at least one decent one among them. System notification: level up. You have reached level 10. You have completed the novice training. Achievement unlocked. Young talent completed training. Seeing that, Chang Sionul's eyes lit up. Here it is. Condition to unlock hidden profession. Sure enough, the notification also showed a reward of +5 to all stats and unlocking a hidden profession. Chang Sionul began to quietly think, in my past life I chose spearman, but this time I won't pick any ordinary professions. Both Dragon King and Dark King are good, but very hard to play. So maybe Berserker is the best choice? Berserker has massive damage output. In exchange, the mind is always unstable. However, there are some tricks to control this. I will choose Berserker to finish the bet. The monster is even hard to kill at level 20. Without hesitation, Chang Sionul tapped the hidden profession reward. Here are your results. Please select a profession. 1 swordsman, 2. Spearman, 3. Tailor, 17. Hidden dragon, spawn, 18. Hidden. Night wanderer, 30. Hidden, ancient arts master. After scanning the list, Chang Sionul's eyes widened. His face darkened and he said, "There's no Berserker." "It's not here. System notification: 6 minutes. Chang Sionul frowned in confusion. I was sure Berserker would be here. But why doesn't it show up? The system announces that the god Lak Thu Tuit is wondering how you will complete the bet. 3 other gods are also waiting to see which profession you will choose. Time is running out. Chang Sionul has no choice but to make a decision. You seriously look at the list. After a moment's consideration, you reach out toward the hidden profession, Master of Runes. You lament that writing runes will be very tedious, but considering their destructive power, they far surpass Berserker. And they also compensate for physical strength in uneven battles. Immediately, the job change process begins. You have chosen Master of Runes as your main profession. You have changed your profession to Master of Runes. Agility increased by 5. Magic increased by 5. New attribute. Wisdom has been added. New attribute Willpower has been added. Low-level worm creation skill has been unlocked. Low-level worm carving skill has been unlocked. The god Lokthu Tweet is shocked by your choice. Another god bursts out laughing at your choice. The job change process is completed. Chang Sunul ignores the god's attitudes. You check your skills carefully. Low-level rune creation produces runic scripts. Successfully creating runes will level up the skill and reduce creation time. Level 1 Active Profession Classification. The effect of low-level rune carving allows you to carve pre-made runes onto desired targets. The target can transform from an object into an animal depending on the skill level. Level 1 Active Profession. Classification buffing supportive magic effects. Chang Sional thinks to himself, just as expected, these two skills appeared. I still have 4 minutes left. Then Chang Sion adds 30 accumulated points to Wisdom and 25 accumulated points to Willpower. At this point, the job change process probably caught the blood serpent's attention. It lunges to attack the tree trunk where Chang Sional is hiding. Chang Sional quickly jumps aside to dodge. The system announces low-level worm creation has been activated. Success rate based on your stats has increased. You see Chang Sional slash his weapon across his other hand, causing blood to splatter. Unexpectedly, the worm runes that the elders forced me to learn are finally being used. Feeling emotional, you use your own blood to write mysterious runes on the blade. When the last stroke is completed, the runes suddenly glow. The system announces low-level rune carving has been activated. Explosive rune has been carved. Explosive rune has been carved. The god Lokthu Tweet anticipated this situation and laughs. Lokthu Tweet is curious how a newbie like you knows about runes. You successfully created and carved each rune thanks to intense focus and strong will. Skill level increased. Reward. Explosive. Rune causes 5 times additional effect within 1 minute. Magic has been absorbed. You enter a state of desire. Chang Sional smiles, looking at the glowing weapon in his hand. Then he shouts loudly at the blood serpent and launches a killing strike. In his mind, he estimates about 3 minutes remain. That should be more than enough. The sounds of Chang Sionul's battle have attracted the attention of people in the safe zone. They look toward the explosions and dust, then shout, "It's that thing again." Bakha Sionul silently says among the crowd, "There are tens of thousands of explosions like bombs coming from the forest. But this one is the biggest blast compared to previous times." Everyone murmurs, "What the hell is going on up there?" The system announces player Li Chang Xian has started attacking the boss. The boss whistles. Everyone is stunned when they see the announcement. The young man in the red jacket even says, "Attacking the boss to this extent already." The young man in the blue jacket is also shocked and exclaims, "What?" But immediately after, the young man in the blue jacket angrily yells, "Damn it! That guy wants to kill us." That bastard is always like this whenever we meet him. He always wants to do things his way. The young man in the green jacket ran up to Park Hee-seong and shouted, "Hey, what are you doing? We're all going to die!" Park Hee-seong calmly said, "Like I said, stay put." But the young man in the green jacket wanted to say something else, only to be cut off by Park Hee-seong. "One small mistake will get us all killed." The young man begrudgingly cursed helplessly. "Damn it!" Park Hee-seong ignored him, and the young man in the green jacket looked toward the lights appearing through the thick smoke, quietly guessing, "If I'm right, that light is the critical effect of a skill. If that's the case, he's way stronger than I thought. We still have a chance." I wonder what's happening over there. Over on Chang Sional's side, the battle had reached its decisive moment. One person and a serpent screamed as they charged at each other, unleashing their strongest attacks. A loud explosion immediately rang out, and everyone in the safe zone got a series of new notifications that left them stunned. You have completed your first boss hunt? Whistle. You have completed the first part of the dungeon exploration quest. Dungeon rankings total 5,000 points, first place. Li Chang Xian, 4,999 points. Second Park. Hee-seong, 1 point. Third, unknown. Rewards will be given based on your achievements. Park Hee-seong stood there dazed with only one thought running through his head. At this moment I thought of the appearance of a new emperor in the top 10 rankings. A while after the boss was defeated, everyone in the safe zone was still shocked by this earth-shattering event. Just then, a giant red snakehead emerged from the forest, causing them to scream in fear. But strangely, the monster did not attack anyone. As its body gradually appeared, they realized it was being dragged by someone. Park Hee-seong looked toward Chang Seonul full of confusion. That gaze, what was he trying to say with it? Chang Seonul looked around the safe zone and said, "Everyone here is a player, right?" Park Hee-seong stepped forward and replied, "That's right." Chang Seonul nodded, pointing to the small blood serpent boss that had been defeated. "I hope everyone can help me clear out the remaining small monsters, okay? A request. More like a demand." Park Hee-seong thought silently, his expression uneasy as he said, "We'll take care of it. You just rest." Jackson sighed and shook his head, seeing everyone's faces along with Park Hee-seong, then whistled and turned to leave. "All right then, seems like you're a bit uncomfortable with my presence. In that case, I'll go find somewhere else." Hearing this, the people in the safe zone started whispering, "Is he really Tyrant? You said those two are the same person." "I hope so, but he looks really different." "Could it be that he's a demon in disguise?" "No way, if that were true, we'd all be dead by now, right?" Yeah, haha. Only the young man in the green jacket stayed silent. He gritted his teeth and stared at Chang Seonul's back. Chang Seonul left the safe zone, recalling what the people there said. "I hope so, but he looks really different. Could he be a demon in disguise?" Chang Seonul shook his head and laughed. "A demon? Didn't expect others to think of me like that." System notification. You will have 1 hour of rest before Phase 2 begins. Starting countdown. Chang Seonul went to an empty lot and threw the blood serpent's corpse on the ground. This spot should be fine. He then went to the 4 corners and carved rune characters into the stones, forming a barrier around him and the blood serpent. System notification, rune barrier has been carved. Your skill level has increased. The low-level rune creation has reached its upgrade limit. A higher-level skill has been unlocked. Basic rune creation has been unlocked. Chang Seonul looked at the blood serpent's corpse on the ground and decided, I should deal with this gift first. System notification received about 2 rewards from ranking achievements and 3 rewards from hunter certification achievements. Chang Seonul quietly said, Accept rewards. System notification. Random rewards have been prepared. Please choose one you're interested in. 1 skill, 2 effects, 3 equipment, or 4 achievement points. The skills and effects at these levels weren't anything good. As for equipment, my evil dragon gear is more than enough. So I'll definitely take this one. Chang Seonul thought quietly, decisively, reaching out to choose achievement points. System notification. You have selected achievement points as a random reward. You have received 10,000 magic. You have received 5,000 magic. Current achievement points, 15,000. Chang Seonul smirked and quietly said, There's one truth that always holds in both the mortal and celestial realms, and that is money. I have to accumulate as much money as possible before the new store opens. Next is the status points. Chang Seonul laughed and ordered the system window to open. Listing Chang Seonul God title Twilight of the Gods unusable. The title Mamba Snake Butcher newly linked to Hell. Profession Master of Ancient Languages. Level 15. Strength 36.5. Plus 25 Agility. 32.7. Plus 20. Stamina 29.9. Plus 20. Magic 10. Plus 20. Wisdom 33. Plus 20. Willpower 28.2. Plus 20. Skill panel Intermediate Gam Knife Technique Level 5. Primary Rune Engraving Level 9. Low-Level Rune Creation Level 1. New Eye of Psi Level 1. Effect Panel Low-Level Poison Resistance Level 5. Soul Coercion. Authority Level 1. Execution. Sword Level 1. Personal Info. You may consider the admiration and fascination many gods have for the achievements you have completed. Accumulated points, 50. Chang Seonul happily rubbed his chin and exclaimed, Nice! Looks like taking the young blood snake was the right decision. System notification. According to the previous reward, the fang of the evil dragon now belongs to you. The pleasure god Snow is craving you greatly. Other gods are also interested in you after learning the betting result. Some constellations have targeted you. Suddenly, a red notification board appeared. The pleasure god Snow is warning others not to dare touch you. In other words, challenging the wrath of the evil dragon Chang Sionol. Seeing this, he covered his mouth to laugh quietly. Then a notification about the betting reward appeared before Chang Sionol. The pleasure god Snow is wondering what prize you would want for winning the bet. You have the right to take 2 rewards. The dragon's treasure has been unlocked. 4 reward lists, 1 anatazan gold bar, 2 heavenly holy cups, 3 omnipotent stones. Chang Sionol focused on the list. He couldn't help but marvel, that's a lot of stuff. Truly, the dragon's treasure. System notification, pleasure god Snow says you can take anything you like. Pleasure god Snow confirms to encourage you that any gift is available. Many other gods are surprised by the pleasure god Snow's reward. Some constellations are attracted to the treasure of pleasure god Snow. This still isn't enough to satisfy me. If I take Pabisa's gift, I'll become her slave. Thinking this, Chang Sionul outright refused the reward list on the board. A red notification frame immediately appeared, window closed. You did not take any item. Chang Sionul was not the least bit unsettled. He smiled calmly and continued reading the notifications. Then pleasure god Snow frowned and wondered, what are you plotting? Some gods are questioning your true intentions. The reward for not taking any items will be converted into achievement points. You received 1,000 magic. Total achievement points, 15,000. As expected, Chang Sionul smiled and said, I knew it. Letting the system store it makes later rewards easier to use. That's how I claim rewards. System notification. Pleasure god Snow is very disappointed. Pleasure god Snow encourages you to become a loyal disciple of him. Chang Sionul immediately refused without a second thought. I decline that. I want to accumulate more combat experience, and I'm not interested in becoming anyone's follower right now. Chang Sionul's eyes shifted slightly toward the achievement points gained from the bet. He gave a wicked smile and silently wondered, so if I keep betting with those gods, I'll get more points, right? System notification, pleasure god Snow is furious that you dared to mock him. Pleasure god Snow angrily says you will regret this decision. Chang Sionul ignored it. He silently despised there's no reason to respect those gods at all. System notification. Some gods are munching popcorn to enjoy this drama. Some gods have ambitions to turn you into their disciple. Some gods who previously didn't care much have started to take an interest in you. Looking at the dense bulletin boards in front of him, Chang Sionul silently guessed if he could prove his unparalleled talent, more entities would fight over him. If the battle with Ben Maduk is real, surely Tiamat's faction will need many talented humans to join them. System notification, the snow beast god is angrily staring at you with eyes burning like fire. Chang Sionul turns his face away, ignoring it. Everything is going according to his plan. He decides to continue with the next act of this play. All right then, let's get started. I have to make full use of everything from this boss, from its skin to its bones. No hesitation. He picks up the weapon in his hand and begins working on the blood serpent's corpse. System notification. You have received blood serpent's blood. You have received blood serpent's meat times 5. You have received blood serpent's eyes times 2. Some gods are wondering what you will show them next. Rumors about the bet and the god's refusal are spreading quickly in the heavenly realm. Many gods curious about you have continuously connected to Dungeon Channel KR9721. The current number of connections is the total number of gods interested in you. Meanwhile, as Chang Sionul diligently collects the blood serpent's corpse in the safe zone, the young men in red and blue jackets are sitting together in a corner. After a moment of silence, the young man in the blue jacket frowned and asked, "Do you think I could do things like that too?" The young man in the red jacket opened his mouth skeptically. The young man in the blue jacket explained, "Become a player, that is." Hearing this, the young man in the red jacket suddenly jolted up and shouted at the young man in the blue jacket, "Are you crazy?" The young man in the blue jacket, seeing his friend's reaction, also got angry and loudly said, "Even a junkie can do it. Why can't I?" The young man in the blue jacket lowered his head, smiled darkly, and quietly said, "I'm not sure I can do it. Before, no, but here I feel like I can awaken the talent sleeping inside this body. Look here, a message from the god." The young man in the red jacket looked over curiously. System notification. The god Twilight Owl has become interested in player Jon Jungyeon. The young man in the red jacket's eyes widened in disbelief as he exclaimed, "Twilight Owl! Could it be that you have completed the awakening test?" Suddenly, a beam of dazzling light appeared in the sky, attracting everyone's attention in the safe zone. Everyone looked up to see a pillar of light piercing through the clouds, descending right onto the safe zone area. At the same time, a notification appeared in front of each person. A manager has appeared. In a moment, the beam of light touched the ground, creating a cloud of thick dust. When the dust cleared, everyone carefully looked again and saw a creature resembling a boy with long rabbit ears, wearing a suit with a large gold watch slung across his shoulder. Holding a large cane, he loudly introduced himself. "Hello, everyone. I am Harold, the manager of Channel Carl." After introducing himself, Harold held the large gold watch in front of his chest, tilted his head, and smiled. He thought he was being extremely friendly. But everyone in the safe zone faced with this scene not only weren't happy, but also suspiciously said, "Manager, why did that guy suddenly appear here?" Hearing this, Hero awkwardly laughed and explained, "Oops, suddenly appeared and disturbed everyone's rest time. Really sorry about that. You must be wondering why I came here, right? Because some things have happened and I need everyone to understand them clearly. According to the management office's policy on non-interference and maximum freedom, we always try our best not to get involved in your current work, but suddenly the dungeon stage transition speed has increased drastically." So the Supreme Manager got very upset. "Everyone, I apologize, but it looks like I have to increase the dungeon's difficulty." Shouts of alarm began to ring out around. "Wait, what?" Harold ignored the reacting crowd, raised his hand high, and snapped his fingers. The protective barrier of the safe zone immediately shattered and disappeared before everyone's eyes. At the same time, everyone received a new notification. Based on the achievements obtained, the dungeon difficulty will increase. The safe zone will be removed. The monster's ferocity will increase. Damage and defense will be improved. Panic quickly spreads. Someone alert stares toward the forest. Someone loses their temper and shouts, "Hero, what the hell are you doing?" Park Heeson's face in the crowd now shows fierce anger. Hero's appearance and actions remind him of a terrible memory. It was the last purge event he participated in. In that event, he was the only survivor, but his body was covered in wounds. Before him were blood and corpses, along with a large system board mocking him with 4 words disappointingly bald. Back in reality, Park Heeson takes a deep breath to calm down. He scans the fearful, confused, and desperate faces of everyone in the safe zone. For some reason, the image of Lee Chang-seonal flashes through his mind, along with a chilling suspicion. That time, the gods and stars summoned the manager to increase the dungeon's difficulty to find outstanding players and turn them into their disciples. Must he watch innocent people fall before his eyes again? Could it be that the gods want to test his talent? Lee Chang-seonal system notice. Based on the dungeon's difficulty, your recovery time has been removed. Monsters are allowed to roam more freely. All monsters enter a ravenous state. Try to survive against these fierce predators. You may form a team. At this time, a team can have up to 10 members. Depending on your contribution, you can receive different equipment. If you successfully hunt monsters, you have a chance to get fire gems. Each team must collect at least 99 gems to complete Phase 2. Everyone hurriedly searches for anything to use as a weapon, holding it tremblingly, fearfully shouting, "What's happening? I've never heard of this situation before." System notice. In 5 seconds, the monster wave will flood this area. 5, 4. While the people in the safe zone are panicking, Hero suddenly appears behind Park Heeson and quietly asks, "So you're the player, Park Heeson, right?" Park Heeson is startled and turns to question, "You know me?" Harold smiles and replies, "Of course. You're the only survivor of the Dragon's Lair, and you're one of the players the management noticed the most. So it's no surprise I know you. Good luck surviving this time." After finishing, Harold gives a sinister smile and disappears. As Hero vanishes, the countdown resets to 0. This means Phase 2 has officially begun. Roars of monsters immediately erupt from the forest. Park Heeson quickly turns to see monsters rushing out of the forest toward the people in the safe zone. Many cowards don't think twice and turn to flee. Damn, where did they come from? Some braver ones stand their ground, holding simple weapons, trembling as they say, "Attack!" At this moment, one person acts differently from everyone else, Jeon Young-yeon. He dares to charge alone straight at the horde of monsters. "This is my chance," he silently counts. Red light flickers in his eyes. He joyfully glances at his system board. The owl god's blessing piercing the dusk is with you. Somewhere in the forest, after tormenting the blood snake's corpse, Chang-seonal finally retrieves what he wants. System notice, you have obtained the blood snake fang Chang Sional. Holding the blood snake fang in hand, he says with a smile, "Antidote skill. Come to me quickly." System notice phase 2 has begun. Many gods are intrigued by your performance in this round. Many gods are betting on your survival in phase 2. This sudden announcement surprises Chang Sional a bit. He suppresses his smile, looks toward the safe zone and says, "The purge is starting again. I thought I'd have a little more time. Could this be the consequence of winning Babince's bet? Maybe that's why Hung attracted more attention from the gods than he expected." Chang Sional opened his personal status panel briefly to check his current status: HP 151 out of 448, MP 8 out of 250, SP 2 out of 30. That's really unfair. The biggest problem is definitely my stamina. I want to recover my stamina points first, but it seems there's no time. Chang Sional frowned and thought silently. He dared not hesitate anymore and took his weapon to leave the place. Not far from there, Chang Sional encountered a large red monster with flames blazing all around its body. Chang Sional glanced and immediately recognized the creature Fire Lizard God. The first stage had poisonous creatures, and now it's the turn of those using toxic fire. Hung, if that's the case, then the next levels will include ice poison, iron poison, and body poison, right? That means what I need to collect in this level is fire energy accumulation. Silently deciding, Chang Sional changed direction toward the Fire Lizard God. The Fire Lizard God also noticed Chang Sional and immediately opened its mouth to breathe fire at him. Chang Sional quickly ducked to dodge and slipped to the monster's belly, avoiding a direct confrontation. Then Chang Sional used the sharp fang weapon of the evil dragon, continuously moving around the Fire Lizard God's belly to deliver slashing strikes that cut through the flesh. The Fire Lizard God was completely passive. It could only turn its head to breathe fire or lash with its tail, but Chang Sional easily dodged each attack. In the end, Chang Sional jumped high to avoid a fire breath, then landed on its body and used the evil dragon's fang to deliver a critical slash, ending the battle. Standing on the Fire Lizard God, Chang Sional briefly compared their stamina to black mamba snakes, which are stronger, but Fire Lizard gods usually travel in packs, making them harder to kill. Then Chang Sional used his weapon to cut open the Fire Lizard God's belly and took out a red orb about the size of a fist. System notification. You have found a fire pearl. Chang Sional smiled and without hesitation opened his mouth to swallow the fire pearl directly. System notification. You have swallowed the fire. Pearl gained low-level fire resistance and collected 20,000 fire energy. Chang Sional sat on the Fire Lizard God's body, breathed out a flame, and silently thought he needed to find more fire pearls. This will be the next condition to achieve immunity to the 3 kinds of fire poison. I can easily meet this condition to obtain that flame thanks to these gods' immunity to poison. This is a special skill of Antares the Scorpius, one of the 12 zodiac signs, and Chang Sional's old enemy. This skill grants him a natural resistance to all poisons and the ability to create poison and turn it into toxic blood. In the past, Chang Sun was overconfident when fighting Antares. He accidentally got cursed by Gaia, a curse that weakened his divine power, and ultimately, Chang Sun was defeated by Antares. However, as we know, fate led Chang Sun to the underworld kingdom thanks to Thanatos. Chang Sun can now learn the secret arts of the fallen stars. Thanatos' exact words to Chang Sional were, "You can freely learn all their secret techniques here, which will help you grow stronger and be very useful against the 12 zodiac signs, a win-win." Some fallen stars were sentenced to exile in hell. The 12 zodiac signs have made enemies with many figures before, including some fallen stars who also wanted to teach them a lesson. The fallen stars' Council of 10 Elders decided to teach all their knowledge only to Chang Sional. Thanks to them, he also learned how to quickly acquire poison immunity. One elder held a deep grudge against Antares because his daughter was killed by him. Since he was the first to pass on knowledge, Chang Sional called him Elder Not Nguyen. Back to the present. Chang Sional had just swallowed the first fire pearl, but one pearl was not enough to reach the heat of the 3 kinds of fire poison, so he took his weapon and went to find the Fire Lizard God's nests to collect all the fire pearls inside them. 3 days later, in another part of the forest, Jeon Jungyeon had just decapitated a Fire Lizard God. System notification, you have defeated the Fire Lizard God. Player Jeon Jungyeon was getting excited. Jeon Jungyeon grinned broadly. That's right. This is the feeling. If I keep playing like this, I can easily kick that Chang Sion's butt. Then he opened the leaderboard to check Dungeon Rank 1 Chang Seonul with 7,500 points, Rank 2 Jeon Jung-yeon with 565 points, Rank 3 Park Hee-seyoung with 150 points. Jeon Jung-yeon widened his eyes, staring at the leaderboard. He grit his teeth, wondering how this could be convinced someone was hacking. Suddenly, a notification appeared before him. Twilight God X recommends you also use shortcuts like your opponent. Jeon Jung-yeon's eyes lit up, excited. He quickly opened his mouth. Is there really a way to advance faster? What is it? Please show me. I beg you. Please grant me more power. The system announces that God X has seen your determination and will lend a hand to help you. Not far away, a few people sat on the ground, exhausted and gasping for air. They looked toward Jeon Jung-yeon with eyes full of longing. Indeed, this world is only for the talented. If only we were as strong as them. Park Hee-seyoung was also among them, carrying a large weapon on his shoulder, thinking, everyone is worn out after 3 continuous days fighting waves of monsters, but their jealousy only grows. It's understandable, since ordinary people like them yearn to be strong, and not just one, but most of them. At this moment, Jeon Jung-yeon stepped in front of the group, staring at them with a grin. I just got a new skill. The gods have finally answered our prayers and shown us the way to become powerful players. After some time in front of a cave entrance, a 4-legged monster with long horns and a fiery mane ran in panic. It quickly dashed inside the cave while silently shouting in its mind, at this rate, everyone will be killed. If it's the mother, the queen of the mountain peak, then that bastard is not human. That was the monster's last thought, because Chang Seonul caught up and sent it and its pack to the other world. When Chang Seonul took out the fire gem from the monster's body and swallowed it, a girl's scream echoed from deep inside the cave, catching his attention. Chang Seonul quickly ran inside and saw a girl with a pink backpack being closely chased by a monster. Just as the monster was about to grab the girl, Chang Seonul blocked with a slash that cut off the monster's head, and then turned to ask, are you okay, kid? The girl cried fearfully, I like monsters. Chang Seonul's face darkened as he reassured her. Hey, I'm Chang Seonul, not a monster or anything. Calm down. Hearing this, the girl stopped crying and looked at Chang Seonul silently. Seeing that he kindly asked, why are you alone? Where are the others? The girl sobbed in response. They're all dead. My friends too. They were rejected by someone named John Shorthair. She showed Chang Seonul the mark on her wrist. In Re, that bastard said he could share the power of the saints through this. Chang Seonul rubbed his chin thoughtfully, then bluntly said, this is a scam. It's clearly a demon seal. This mark means you've sold your soul to a demon. The owl's seal piercing the twilight isn't like this. If the bearer of the seal dies, their life force and soul will be taken. The life force goes to the host, but the soul belongs to the demon. That John guy in the car is probably very strong by now. Chang Seonul examined the seal carefully. Looking closer, it's clearly a high-quality, authentic item. If it's from the demon clan, it might even surpass the demon lord rank. But that's still not enough to trouble me, Chang Seonul. While thinking, he turned to leave. Shorthair immediately followed, pleading, please help me. Chang Seonul's expression was 30% annoyed, 70% wondering how to deal with this girl. But I already saved you from that fire bear earlier. The girl wouldn't give up, still trying to persuade, I'm good at housework. Laundry, cooking, cleaning, I can do it all. In return, please help me become stronger. Chang Seonul turned his head. The girl's determined gaze made him soften a bit. You just want to avenge your friend, right? Shorthair was silent, eyes full of anger. Then she did something unexpected. She pulled a chocolate bar from her backpack. Heartbroken, tears streaming, she handed it to Chang Seonul as a token of sincerity. Chang Seonul was speechless, but reluctantly accepted her, trailing him. But first he had to fix her seal. At the same time, on the Trong Ri side, thanks to the players cursed to death, he received the remaining life force from them. This new power made him even more insane. Trong Dae, the young man in red, hesitated to speak, but received a cold glare from Trong Dae. Nothing. He fearfully said, just staring intently at the demon seal on Trong Dae's hand, then at the seal on his own hand. Clearly that seal was restricting their actions. Trong Ri, someone else, called out to him, but was shouted at. What do you want? Can you hurry up? Have you found what I told you to find yet? The young man, clutching his injured arm, meekly replied, Yes, I found it. The man in red saw this and clenched his teeth in anger. He treated them like nothing more than servants. It really is a prison, huh? Is there a hidden area here? Everyone move quickly. Get ready to fight the boss. Trong-rae led and ordered everyone. Then he grinned wickedly. Lee Chang-xian, just wait. I will carve you up soon. Just like what you did to me. Currently, N people are connected to the dungeon channel. N gods are watching the players through this dungeon channel. Many gods are closely observing the player who is clearing the dungeon the fastest. A series of notifications appeared before the little girl tailing Trang-seon. But the little girl didn't have time to think. At this moment, she was carrying out the important mission that Chang-seon had assigned to lure the first rotten zombie horde. She activated the water riding skill, creating small whirlpools to pull some zombies closer, then relying on Chang-seon's charm rune to attract the entire group of zombies chasing her. Taking advantage of that, Chang-seon hooked from behind, causing the whole zombie horde to fall immediately. You're really skilled at luring, huh? I'll engrave the charm rune on you so you can lure as many monsters as possible for me. Just run fast and attract all of them, unless I tell you to stop or turn around. The little girl immediately followed Chang-seon's instructions. After a while, Chang-seon dealt with a group of zombies. Then he turned and asked, "Is that the last one?" Shorthair ran over quickly and replied, just as requested. "I've brought back all the monsters within a 300-meter radius for you." Chang-seon continued asking, "What about the other plan? I've checked every nook and cranny thoroughly. Everything has been completed as planned. Do you have any other requests? Now run as far away as possible. You're just a hindrance for hunting the next monster," Chang-seon said while staring intently at her. That absolute trust in his eyes made him feel somewhat uncomfortable. Suddenly another burden was added to his shoulders. "Yes, sir," the little girl replied, then quickly went to carry out the mission Chang-seon assigned. Chang-seon vigilantly looked around. If everything went according to plan, just as Chang-seon thought this, a toxic smoke cloud flew from afar straight into his nose. The system immediately notified, "The final boss plague super spider has appeared." A giant spider rushed toward Chang-seon at breakneck speed. Then it extended its sharp leg to attack Chang-seon. Thanks to quick reflexes, Chang-seon easily dodged the attack. Shorthair heard the noise, turned her head, and saw a giant spider rushing toward her. While she panicked, Ho Quin Huang and Chang-seon used weapons to slash, blocking the spider chasing her. Shorthair took the opportunity to keep running to complete the mission Chang-seon assigned. Facing the monster, one of Chang-seon's eyes suddenly changed color. The world serpent god highly appreciates you and has gifted you a skill called Serpent Eye. It will temporarily transform into a poison serpent eye. A poison serpent eye is like the hunting weapon of snakes. You can now use this eye to evaluate the terrain for hunting, as well as the prey's weak points. Level 1. Active type. The effect enhances senses to identify weaknesses. Chang-seon'll read the system note. He vaguely guessed that such a big reward without any conditions must mean it was testing whether he met the requirements. "If that's what you want, I'll comply." Chang-seon'll used the poison serpent eye to analyze the plague super spider. When he saw the eye circle a spot on the front leg of the super spider, Chang-seon'ul decided to attack that spot first. But first you have to detoxify your body. Chang-seon'ul activated low-level poison-resistant skill and stored fire energy to cleanse the poison inside him. Thanks to that, not only did he cleanse the poison, but he also upgraded his low-level poison-resistance skill. Achieved the feat of using up all the stored energy from 6 fire gems. Received the reward of +5 fire attribute stamina enhancement. After cleansing, it was time to counterattack. Chang-seon'ul wielded his weapon and slashed swiftly at the front leg of the super spider as planned, while also calculating his next move. Right now, the fuel he was aiming for was the venom. Among all the gland poisons of the plague super spider, it was the most valuable. Chang-seon'ul used poison snake eye to locate the gland. After confirming it was on the super spider's upper back, Chang-seon'ul leapt onto its back. He stabbed hard but unexpectedly. The spider's skin was so thick that instead of piercing through the weapon in Chang-seon'ul's hand was bounced back. Moreover, this action caught the super spider's attention. It began spitting acid at Chang-seon'ul, but he reacted quickly and jumped to the side to dodge. It even spits acid, huh? Grinding levels non-stop for 3 days really paid off. Poke the dog, then run. Saying is doing, Chang-seon'ul ran like crazy. While Chang-seon'ul was struggling with the boss, Trang-ze's group also approached his position. Seeing the rotten zombie corpses scattered everywhere on the ground, the group panicked. Only Trang-ze was furious. While he was deluding himself that it wasn't Chang-seon'ul's doing, the system announced a newly recorded achievement. At that moment, the top 4 dungeon rankings were first, Chang Sionul with 29th of 550 points. Second, Jeon Jungyeon with 230 points. Third, Park Heezung with 550 points. Jeon Jungyeon stared blankly at the ranking board, his face twisted. God X said if you keep embarrassing me like this, the consequences won't be mild. God X warned this was the last chance for you, Chao Rei. After hearing that he was scared, his thumb was bitten by him until it bled. That bastard definitely has something wrong. How the hell can an ordinary person become strong so fast? But whether it's hacking or not, I have to extract all the info from him to get stronger and earn the god's recognition again. At that moment, the system sent a general announcement to all players. Player Lee Chang-seon is fighting the Plague Super Spider in RE. Immediately rush to find Chang-seon. He must kill Chang-seon no matter what. Chang-seonal didn't know someone was anxiously waiting day and night. After running like mad for a while, he succeeded in provoking the Plague Super Spider into a furious rage. At that moment, he suddenly stopped. At the same time, the Plague Super Spider fell into a deep pit. It turned out that the short-haired guy's earlier task was to set this trap, and Chang-seonal's running was to lure it here. After the Plague Super Spider fell into the pit, the June explosion was triggered immediately. The system announced the Plague Super Spider is burning. The world serpent god burst into delighted laughter because the spider stepped on the traps you had set earlier. Not stopping there after the June, burning the June piercing was triggered, preventing the spider from escaping. The system immediately announced the world serpent god laughed uproariously again as the spider kept stepping on your traps. Achieved the dirty trick cunning achievement. Reward +5 wisdom and low-level trap setting skill. Because he had prepared a rope beforehand, Chang-seonal didn't fall into the trap. He clung to the rope, looked down, and coldly said, "This is just the warm-up." After being battered by Chang-seonal's trap, although the Plague Super Spider was severely injured, it managed to stay alive. It looked up at the sky and saw Chang-seonal clinging to the rope, gazing at it with a tender look. "You really are a boss with thick HP." Grabbing the rope, Chang-seonal swung, but unfortunately the rope snapped. The piercing tremor caused by the tremor was triggered this time. The super spider really couldn't bear it anymore. It used all its strength to jump out of the pit and fled desperately, trying to run away. "The game's not over yet, little Spider Chang." Seonal smiled and said, then clung to one side of the broken rope and used it to chase after the super spider, continuing to attack with worms. Just then, the people in the vehicle arrived at the scene. Witnessing the super spider infected with the plague being beaten like a child by Chang-seonal, they couldn't help but be terrified. "If we fight him now, we'll surely die. I have to wait for the right moment. Just a little longer, he'll definitely be exhausted," he thought inside the vehicle. Then an idea suddenly flashed in his mind. He turned to look at the players behind him. Just use these guys as bait to slowly wear down Chang-seonul's stamina. He won't be cautious around innocent civilians. Then it will be much easier to kill him. I need something to make sure his death is certain, maybe a victim. At that moment, he happened to see Short Hair running by. Pure and clear, unable to hide her joy, she smiled wickedly. Here she is, exactly the element I need. Back to Chang-seonal. After playing around with the super spider for a while, he finally mercifully launched a critical sword strike that took the super spider down. Successfully obtained its gland. Holding the infected super spider's gland in his hand, Chang-seonal immediately absorbed it into his body. The system announcement kept echoing, "Level up, you have reached level 20. You have completed Chapter 5 and the final chapter of the Dungeon Exploration questline. The final rankings will be announced. Perfect dungeon score, 100,000 points, first place. Lee Chanyol, 97,450 points. Second place, Jeon Jungyeon, 2,000 points, third place. Park Heeseung, 550 points. The management room congratulates you on your outstanding achievement. Achievement points are being accumulated. N-gods are interested in you. N-gods want to greet you. The dungeon is about to close. Some gods are saying they want to possess you. The World Serpent God is threatening other gods who intend to come after you. The World Serpent God says that he himself is the one watching you. First, while Chang-seonal was absorbing the new power in a hidden corner, the people in the Ri were waiting for their chance to strike. Seeing Chang-seonal sitting still in the gen, they smiled cruelly. They thought he was so exhausted he couldn't stand up. So they immediately ordered others to attack Chang-seonal. But unexpectedly, when they charged, Chang-seonal suddenly gave a sinister smile. Then he slowly stood up. Chang Zi's system immediately announced, the God X laughed out loud. He said a good show is about to begin. The player team John Jung-yeon has fallen into a trap. John Jung-yeon's group immediately panicked. The most shocked was John Jung-yeon, who couldn't help but exclaim, "What the hell is this?" Chang Seonal affectionately looked at him, pronouncing each word. "Surprised, aren't you? It means you're done for Sun. After all, they're just expendable pawns in the Ri." He didn't hesitate to order Lee Chang Seonal's death. Advancing his teammates, though scared, still obediently followed Chang Seonal's orders. With a stern face, he charged straight at the Ri leader. Those who blocked his way were slashed and wounded, but none of the injuries were fatal, just enough to stop them from blocking his path. The sudden mission to escape the trap was initiated by God X. He was very pleased with this unexpected mission. The Akun game team froze for 5 seconds. Everyone around in the Ri was knocked out, leaving him no choice but to face Chang Seonal head-on. He swung his weapon to clash with Chang Seonal, but due to the huge power gap when he touched Chang Seonal's weapon, his hand was immediately knocked backwards. He screamed in pain. Seeing this, Chang Seonal showed no mercy and continued to attack him. He was lucky to dodge and ran back to his teammates, pushing them forward as shields. This time, Chang Seonal showed no mercy and directly sent these people to meet the King of Hell. He was too strong in the Ri. Thinking in panic he needed more power, so he didn't hesitate to eliminate his own teammates despite their screams and pleas. Park Hee-sung stood atop the hill, witnessing everything exactly as he had anticipated. John Chang-yeol was just a plaything of the gods, while the one who originally sparked their interest was Lee Chang-yeol. John Chang-yeol now was nothing more than a fish trapped in Lee Chang-yeol's net, just like how he was once toyed with by those gods. After eliminating his teammates, John Chang-yeol thought, according to the contract seal, that he would receive the remaining life force of the victims, but the system ultimately notified him that the transfer had malfunctioned, leaving him unprepared. While John Zay was still psychologically traumatized, John Seon rushed in like a god, stabbing toward him. Although John Zay predicted the direction of the weapon in John Seon's hand this time, John Seon used overwhelming power, so his weapon defense failed. John Seon mercilessly cut off one of his arms. John Z screamed in pain, clutching his severed arm. "Damn you!" The pain didn't end there. At that moment, he saw black smoke rising from his teammate's body. Then it moved straight toward Chang Seonal. The system immediately notified that the victim's life force had been transferred to another. For some reason, John Zay was stunned into silence. How could he do that? John Jung-yeon seemed to have heard that name before. Young-son spoke while thinking. After a moment, he seemed to have no answer. He indifferently uttered one word. "Ah." That attitude genuinely angered Jung-yeon. "You don't even remember me," Chang Seon replied casually. How could I forget?" This really drove John Z crazy. "You really don't remember me? The one you kicked out of the team just for a minor mistake, huh?" At that moment, memories of John Z flashed through Chang Seon's mind. "Now I remember. That crybaby who complained when kicked out of the team. The one who annoyed me by selfishly clinging to that position was you." As he spoke, Chang Seonal stepped closer to John Z. "Years have passed and you're still just a pathetic failure, huh?" Both present and past, John Z was looked down upon by Chang Seonal. He welled up with tears, unsure if they were from anger or hurt, but his eyes looked as if he wanted to devour Chang Seonal alive. "Don't talk about that person from the past. Now I have the protection of the divine rank God X, staring intently at the one he was once blessed by. A brat unworthy of that grace." The world seemed to collapse before John Z's eyes as he received those notifications. "No way, don't tell me I'm just a pawn for you. You failed the sudden mission to escape the trap." John Z looked at Chang Seonal, who slowly raised his weapon toward him. Dark, flood-like memories surged into his mind, driving him mad as he screamed. That day, he stood in a corner watching his team receive the championship. Watching Chang Seonal raise the trophy, cheered by everyone. "Your punishment will be carried out. Death penalty. I shouldn't be jealous of him. I shouldn't follow behind him. If I did, I wouldn't have been caught in this gate. Everything that happened is his fault. That bastard Lee Chang Seon." Those were Chang Dae's final thoughts before being cut down by Chang Seon. Another person gone, only the system remains forever. It remains the same, continuing its mission. Announcement to everyone, player John Young-jae has died. According to the contract seal, the victim's life force will transfer to the host. This is a massive energy source, so it will take some time to fully absorb. This energy was immediately transmitted to Chang Seon. Those who survived in Chang Dae's team watched in awe. That Chang Dae really had a huge energy source. It's all flowing into Lee Chang Seon now. Some might wonder why this energy flows to Chang Seon. The answer is because he tampered a bit with the Shorthair's contract seal. Rewind time to before Shorthair was recruited as a minion. Chang Xian used a knife made from animal bone to modify the seal for her, making her also become a host like Chang Dai. If that massive energy poured into her, she would overload and die instantly. So Chang Xian carved an additional transmission rune. Therefore, instead of transferring energy to Shorthair, it would be transferred to you. But the energy source was so enormous that Chang Xian had a hard time swallowing it. At that moment, the system's voice echoed with the world serpent god advising, "Absorb this magic slowly because this energy is very different from the one you currently have." The world serpent god said that greed is not good. He warned that if possible, discard part of that power. The world serpent god appreciated the idea of using low-level worms for host transfer. It truly was a practical idea. Chang Xian didn't have the mind to heed such advice. He was still struggling to absorb that huge energy. He felt like he had just downed a 100-year-old jar of wine. Yet this energy was even greater than that. The system continued conveying the god's message to Chang Xian, but this time it wasn't from the world serpent god, it was from the dark god. God X said this was just a small test for you, and as he predicted, you completed it excellently. Just as Chang Xian suspected he was only testing you. After all, who is he? God X is wondering what reward to give you for such an outstanding performance. He decided the surprise reward would be revealed in 5 seconds, starting the countdown. At the same time, the system announced dark power streams surrounding the body, then lifted those with seals onto the General Assembly Hill. The system showed the option yes or no. Chang Xian's face immediately turned serious. He understood what this choice meant. Bak Ha-Shiem, hiding behind a rock, witnessed everything. He couldn't help but clench his fists tightly. So they repeated that again. If anyone didn't satisfy them like Li Chang Xian did, they would just kill them all off like throwing away useless trash. Looking at Chang Xian's hollow eyes, it seemed he had decided to strike down his own kind. There was no reason for him not to accept the gift from the gods. He didn't even bother. Bak Ha-Shiem could only helplessly watch as Chang Xian raised his hand to make a choice. The result was beyond his prediction. Chang Xian pressed the button. No countdown time. It stopped immediately. The system's voice kept ringing. God X was troubled by your unexpected decision. God X said you should just comfortably accept this huge energy as his gift to you. God X told you that human life is the easiest and most useful material for developing magic. Chang Xian made an excuse. My mother told me not to accept gifts from unknown strangers. Bak Ha-Shiem, standing nearby, gave a thumbs up hearing that, with a look of admiration at Chang Xian. Well done, brother. God X tilted his head, wondering what the heck you were talking about. God X suddenly realized his title was hidden and sneered. God X was about to tell you his identity. The demon god who escaped from hell was looking at you with a sly smile. Hearing demon god escaped from hell! Chang Xian's face couldn't hide his surprise. It was Mephisto Fletcher. His reaction made Mephisto Fletcher suspicious. The system conveyed his meaning again. The demon god who escaped from hell was wondering if you knew him. Damn it, I'm in trouble now. Chang Xian thought quickly and replied, I'm not just surprised by your demon god title. Mephisto Fletcher, a name not unfamiliar to Chang Xian. Among the great demons, Mephisto Fletcher ranks at the top, and his existence is even ranked higher than Tiamat. He heard that those like him rarely appear in the world because they prefer solitude. So why would someone like him show up here? Chang Xian's response to his earlier attitude completely convinced Mephisto Fletcher. The system continued to relay. The demon god who escaped from hell has also thought about this reason and reassured you that you don't need to worry about it. The demon god who escaped from hell wants to ask you what it is that you truly desire. Just then a message from another god interrupted. The snow beast god is warning the demon god who escaped from hell. Don't touch his girl. Chang Xian was overjoyed. It's Pabinsa. I thought after that incident she'd just ignore me. I never expected her to dare stand up to the demon. Even her mother Tiamat has to respect her somewhat. Thanks a lot. I owe you this time. The dungeon is about to close. All players please be careful of strong tremors and shocks. The 10-second countdown begins. Hey, wait a minute. The familiar voice caught Chang Xian's attention. Only seeing short hair running from afar. She still bore the alluring shiver that Chang Xian left on her. The girl hurriedly said, at least give me your contact number. Chang Xian threw her the knife in his hand and told her to follow the directions engraved on it. The people there will have enough power to help you break that seal. Right now, my abilities aren't enough, so if fate allows, see you again. Be careful. As Chang Xian finished speaking, the countdown ended. Before Shorthair could say more, Chang Xian vanished. The dungeon completely collapsed. You all have worked hard. It was also the moment when Shorthair lost consciousness. When she woke up, the dungeon had disappeared. She and the survivors were sent back to their families and loved ones. Many people around were buzzing, wondering if the dungeon was really cleared by a single person with no relation to Korea. That was the hottest news of the day. Shorthair still felt it wasn't real. Only when held tightly in her parents' arms did she truly believe she was still alive. Wait, where did he go? Shorthair startled and looked around for Chang Xian, but he was like air, disappeared without a trace. She felt a bit regretful holding the knife Chang Xian gave her, looking forward to meeting again. That night, Chang Xian had some thoughts. Sitting on the bridge looking up at the moon for a while, the system notified him. The world serpent. God said he preferred a lively life, but oh well. Relaxing while gazing at the night like this is fine too. The demon god who escaped from hell is still waiting for your answer. Chang Xian pretended not to hear, thinking of the other person he whispered inside. Old man. Although I used a method very different from the original plan, in the end I've returned. The next day, from early morning, the system kept sending notifications to Chang Xianul. The snow beast god was showing hostility toward gods wanting to possess you. The world serpent. God licked his lips and laughed gleefully. The demon god who escaped from hell didn't care about others and waited for your reply. The snow beast. God flew into a rage and told others to listen to him. The demon god who escaped from hell is waiting for your answer. Seeing the gods fighting to win you over, Chang Xianul felt a little proud. He thought getting 2 out of 3 was already a big success, but thanks to his skills, he unexpectedly attracted even the great demon. Actually, ever since the gates and dungeons started opening on Earth here, perhaps it's the first time anyone has caught the attention of so many gods at once. At that moment, the system announced a new mission. The mission to push the Guardian God selection chain has been initiated. Guardian God selection for all players. They can choose a god and receive blessings and protection from them throughout their exploration journeys. Think carefully and choose an appropriate patron because it will affect your entire journey as well as your future life. The Snow Beast. God says he is the wisest choice because people like you who have both weapon skills and a love for hunting will gain many benefits from his knowledge and patronage. This god will grant you the title of Origin Guardian, the World Serpent. God says he highly favors humans with cunning hearts and a love for destructive power like you. This god will grant you the title of Wise Seer. The demon god who escaped from hell remains silent, waiting for your response. This god will grant you the title of Final Observer. Chang Xianul began to calculate. If ranking the gods, it would be Pabinsha, then Jormungandr with Mephisto Fleuret at the top. I don't need to care about the others. They don't promise as much as these 3. 4 minutes passed. Another promising name popped into Chang Xianul's mind as if by telepathy. The system also transmitted the message of that promising candidate. The owl god through the sunset has placed great hopes in you. Minerva, the goddess, who holds the title that Mephisto Fleuret temporarily used unexpectedly, a goddess who favors justice like her, is interested in you. Maybe you caught Minerva's eye when you spared all those cursed? Thanks to that, your sin meter has gradually balanced out to nearly neutral 40% good, 60% evil. The snow beast god is waiting for your answer. The demon god who escaped from hell is waiting for your answer. The 4 world serpent gods are waiting for your answer. The owl god through the sunset is waiting for your answer. 9 gods are interested in your final choice. In case you don't choose any patron, you may fall behind other players at the same level due to lack of blessings and patronage. Therefore, we advise you to choose a patron for yourself soon. Chang Xianul just let time pass because his decision was still not to choose anyone. Waiting time is over. You have received the status of godless. Achievement unlocked. Humanity rejects divinity. Some gods are angry and intrigued by your bottomless greed. Your reputation has increased. You have gained 100,000 karma. Chang Xianul was silent. He looked up at the skyscraper in front of him. His gaze became serious. This way, cleaning out the dungeon will become more difficult. VKP-CFF Association, the Council for Free Players Worldwide, abbreviated as VKP-CFF. This association is actually an international organization under today's United Nations Security Council. An organization created decades ago to manage gates and dungeons to prevent their impact on Earth's living environment. Gradually, that organization gained enormous power and international status. Of course, this only applies to the big shots running the association. At the VKPFF headquarters office, Agent Cha-un loudly yelled at a male staff member, "What the hell is this?" "So what do you think these three-ring circus reporters are doing what they do best, poking and prodding us?" The male staff with dark circles under his eyes stared at the computer screen and said, "Then let me show you the latest articles. The super disasters that pushed humanity to the brink of extinction is gradually coming to an end." An association staff member stated with all due respect, "This is just an inevitable result of our prior preparations. It's not a big deal. Is it okay to just let dungeons erupt like this?" Yet from an expert's point of view, the association's show of force only increases public concern in the current context. Yoon read and slammed the table angrily. "What do those bastards think if people have been busting their asses the past 5 days to ensure their safety? Evacuating civilians, directing the army to set up defenses, and I even had to prepare myself to get fired for daring to threaten the management to get permission for aid from neighboring countries. So in the end, what did I get out of it?" The young man seemed indifferent to her words, nodding toward the screen. "Look at this article." What caught Eun's eye was the headline, "Mysterious Factor L." Who is that person? Eun rubbed her aching head, pulling out a cigarette as she asked, "Who do you think leaked this information?" The young man didn't answer but grumbled, "Don't smoke in here." Hearing this, Eun got even angrier, raising her hand to threaten, but then fell silent. "You want to get punched instead of eating?" The young man, to protect his teeth, reluctantly went along. Yeah, I'm quiet." Eun started scolding. "I told you to stop that information from leaking." The young man sighed. It's always easier said than done. Luckily, the reporters just treated it as a rumor. They probably knew little about this L person, because how could a newcomer break through a 2-star prison on their own and then vanish without a trace? Yoon puffed on his cigarette, his face thoughtful, speculating that no normal person could do that. Could it be some kind of demonic entity? We had to contact that person before other guilds, but no matter what we tried, we couldn't find them. It was frustrating. Even using the security cameras didn't help. At that moment, the universe sent a signal to Yoon. A man ran in breathlessly, reporting, "We found him." Yoon was so anxious he dropped his cigarette quickly, asking for the exact location. "Looks like he's at home." "Yes, he's currently back in the dorm." Chang-Sol casually walked into the house as if nothing had happened, then headed straight to the kitchen. The dog wagged its tail excitedly, barking loudly to welcome him back, then followed him inside. His mother, busy cooking, smiled kindly when she saw him and asked, "Have you eaten yet?" "Not yet," Chang-Sol replied, his face clearly showing excitement. "That smell is stewed kimchi. You haven't smelled stewed kimchi for 1,000 years. The aroma gradually took over his senses. The puppy's bark and pawing for being picked up brought Chang-Sol back to reality. He happily lifted the dog, smiling and petting it. "All right, Kai, long time no see. Stop licking me. Dinner's almost ready. Go take a shower. Mom will set the table." A simple sentence, but it deeply moved Chang-Sol. After thousands of years, he had finally come home. Chang-Sol cuddled Kai while gently answering, "Yes, ma'am." At the dinner table besides him and his mother were his 3 older brothers and sister. The meal was lavish, but no one touched their food. "I'm full, me too," his brothers and sister politely said before leaving. His mother saw them off at the door looking sad as she said, "You two came home late again today. I had surgery until late. I was busy performing, so I asked to come home late." The joy of returning to Earth made Chang-Sol forget why he didn't want to come back to this house. His paternal family was a huge family corporation. His father inherited and managed a large hospital. His maternal family were renowned scholars working in law and diplomacy. His eldest brother followed their father's path into medicine, while his sister pursued music and won many awards. He himself was the odd one out, spending his childhood glued to video games like they were trash in this house. They didn't even bother to greet him after he returned home. Chang-Sol couldn't hide his disappointment trying to recall beautiful family memories, but in the end, nothing matched his expectations. "Well, I guess food will have to soothe my soul." Chang-Sol took a bite of the kimchi, sighing with pleasure. Is stewed kimchi always this good? Just as Chang-Sol started to feel a bit happy, his father slammed chopsticks on the table and shouted, "So you have nothing to say?" Chang-Sol stayed silent. His mother immediately defended him. "Leave it to me." His father looked sternly at her, then turned to Chang-Sol. "Don't you know your mother collapsed when the Jamsil Gate appeared?" She asked everyone because she was worried you would get stuck in there. Your brother called every hospital in Seoul to check if you were in any emergency room. Your sister and mother ran all over looking for you, and your second sister even missed an international tour to take care of you. And now a few days later, you drag your sorry self back here to eat without saying a single word. Are you even human? You're less than an animal. If you keep acting like this, get out of my sight and stop mooching off this family. The atmosphere between father and son was tense. Chang Seonul's mother tried to mediate. Son, stop it. He already knows he was wrong. Chang Seonul said, What, Dad? I'm worried about you, too. I have to go to work, his father said angrily, then turned away. After that, he grabbed his suitcase and left. But Chang Seonul, sharp-eyed, noticed tears welling up in his father's eyes. The door slammed shut. The big house was left with only his mother and Chang Seonul. She sighed and then comforted her son. You know your father always acts like that when he's angry, so don't take what he said too seriously. Yes, Mom, Chang Seonul replied, glancing at his mother unconsciously. So Yuha felt a bit sad inside without realizing when it started. Mom has so many wrinkles. I completely forgot I sat here waiting until my family started to care about me. Yet I never once tried to talk to them first. Go rest now, dear. Sorry, Mrs. Yuha, he said, unable to hide his surprise. What are you saying? Sorry, Mom, I'll be more careful next time, Chang Seonul said quietly and went back to his room. When he opened the door, the room looked like a battlefield. Bottles, papers, chip bags, and half-eaten instant noodles were scattered all over the floor. He busily cleaned up, thinking to himself, was I really this messed up before? This place is too dirty. Woof woof. Chang Seonul turned to look at Kai, who had somehow sat beside him, wagging his tail. His big round eyes looked at him affectionately. Chang Seonul laughed. He picked Kai up, petted him, and muttered, I think I should start with the spiderweb-covered corners first. Let's begin cleaning. While Chang Seon was enjoying life at the same time, Yoon was speeding down the highway in her newly purchased supercar with her colleague. Their destination was Chang Seon's house. Wow, is this really the new model? There aren't even 100 of these in the country. How did you get one? How could you afford it on a measly salary? Nam, the colleague, asked curiously. A side job, of course. Yoon replied while driving, Hey, that's illegal. Yoon didn't care. Her mind was only on the young man El-Kia. She really wanted to see his face. Meanwhile, Chang Seon was unaware strange guests were about to arrive. After cleaning, he lay on his bed relaxing for a few seconds when the pleasure god's note system asked what he would do next. The god said his hunting skills would be very helpful for what he was doing. The world serpent god said rest is also very important. Chang Seonul began to feel annoyed by how meddlesome these gods were. Suddenly, Chang Seonul remembered what had just happened. His brother and sister, despite being busy, still came home when they heard he returned. His father, the man he always thought was strong, even shed tears because of him. And the image of his aging mother. Thinking of these things, Chang Seonul vowed to himself to show them how much he had changed. He had to show them he was no longer an alcoholic, but a responsible person. Maybe that would gradually open their hearts to him, but the start would probably be harder than he thought. First, he had to complete the mission Thanatos assigned. It was time to move on to Phase 2 of the plan. All right, he was right about the void manipulator being here. Chang Seonul recalled his conversation with Thanatos. So who do I grab first? Of course, the ringleader who rules where you live, and it's someone you know very well, the mad, fierce tiger. At the mention of this name, Chang Seonul's face turned fierce. The murderous glare was so intense that even Cho Kai, lying next to him, was sweating. The furious tiger was one of the culprits who framed him during the divine punishment trial. To this day, he still clearly remembers that cunning smile of his. He is a deceitful man, so it will be very difficult to get his head. He is as ferocious as a fierce tiger, and thanks to the men under his command, he can sniff out everything very quickly. Chang Seonul stared intently at the recruitment post of the White Tiger Guild. This guild will recruit new members next month. Speaking of guilds, since the gates began to open, countless gods and stars have revealed themselves to humanity. As a result, the number of blessed people and their followers began to increase. Those groups are called guilds. The Void Manipulator is the patron god of the White Tiger Guild. He's terrible at naming and chose his own white tiger image as the symbol for his silly guild. Chang Seonul read through information about White Tiger. The guild is ranked among the top nationwide. Oh, that's intense. However, posting a recruitment notice means they still don't have enough manpower to start a battle. Thinking about what the void manipulator did to him, Chang Seonul silently vowed to slowly sever his tendons from bottom to top so he wouldn't notice in time. To do that, he needs to prepare everything within a month at any cost. The next day, Chang Seonul used the excuse of taking a walk around the lake near the park to leave the house. Then he took a taxi to a remote hill, simply because he needed to find a place where his mind wouldn't be distracted to get things done. Neither people nor animals were allowed to bother him there. But first, he had to take care of an important matter dealing with being chased by Chow Chow. Maybe it was because he ate too much fermented kimchi last night, but he couldn't help it. It had been thousands of years since he last ate this dish. The only downside was that now his stomach had to suffer the consequences. Chang Seonul planned to use the same method he did in the dungeon, using his power to heal himself, but then remembered the words of the ancients. Defecation is one of the 4 pleasures. So he decided to handle it like a normal person. His body would probably be surprised. It had been over 1,000 years since he last sat on a modern toilet. He shouted his lover's name loudly in the toilet. Finally, Chang Seonul stepped out feeling refreshed. Now on to continue the journey. After surveying, Chang Seonul found a suitable spot. He carved a stealth rune onto tree trunks, creating a barrier around himself. Then he began taking off his clothes, keeping only his shorts on, neatly folding the rest to the side. After all, he needed to take good care of his clothes. He didn't want to be wandering around the street naked. Once done, Chang Seonul ordered the system to open his inventory. Instantly, all the items in the bag were displayed before Chang Seonul. A spear made from the rib bone of a fire goat. 13. A small shield made from the skull bone of a fire lizard. 21. The venomous fangs of a blood snake. A blazing claw of a fire tiger 9. The beak of an ice hawk. A stinger of a cave scorpion. 2. The gland of a plague super spider. This is exactly what he needed. He quickly took the gland of the plague super spider, then used the flame within his body to burn it. The first elder once told him there's nothing better to use as fuel than poison. The pure flame inside him divided into fire elements, refining impurities and burning weaknesses because it is a special purification art. Even if it burns his body down to ashes, as soon as foreign substances enter, they will ignite immediately. The stronger the foreign substance, the more violently the fire will blaze, and eventually that purifying fire will become the Bagua flame. When the Bagua flame is ignited, all the body's waste and accumulated negative thoughts will be completely purified by the fire. That is the best method of purification and physical enhancement that he currently knows. Because he had all the necessary materials, Chang Seonul decided to start purifying from the heart first. From that moment, the system continuously notified that the venom of the blood serpent was gradually invading your heart. The toxin is rapidly destroying your entire body. Activate secondary toxin resistance. The resistance effect is insufficient. Warning to the player: quickly remove the blood serpent's venom fang and detoxify. You have completely absorbed the blood serpent's venom fang. You have discovered a hidden skill. You now possess the venom creation ability of the serpent. From now on, your body can produce the blood serpent's venom by itself. You received 50,000 mana. You are severely poisoned. The blazing claws of the fire tiger are penetrating your liver. The god of pleasures. Snow is panicking at what you are doing. He is searching for an item to assist you. The earthly serpent god is astonished that you have discovered a hidden skill. He thinks you are hiding a trump card and continues to wait for your move. The demon god who escaped from hell is still waiting for your answer. The owl god piercing through the night is cheering for you. The cave scorpion's nest is invading your spleen. You are standing on the brink of death. The toxin from the plague super spider's glands is invading your lungs. You have discovered another hidden skill. Your 5 organs are filled with toxins from various animals. The toxins from 5 animal species are battling each other. Your poisoning symptoms have become very severe. Intermediate toxin resistance has stopped working. Intermediate toxin resistance has been rejected. Chang Seonul tries to endure the excruciating pain. Encourage yourself a little, just a little more. Warning: detoxification process starting. If you persist, survival chances will be 0. Chang Seonul stubbornly continues to absorb the toxin. It's not time for you to stop yet. Warning: please begin detoxification process immediately. Continued poisoning will cause irreversible wounds. Warning: all your senses are beginning to numb. This is the moment. Just as Chang Seonul predicted, the system instantly brings good news. Mana has been converted into kindling for the dormant fire split within your body. The fire split has appeared. The flames are blazing fiercely. You have discovered a hidden skill. A lot of fire energy is added to the flames in your body. Congratulations on reigniting the flame of a forgotten legend. 3 true flames. The effect of 3 true flames has been activated. You are gradually recovering. You are gradually being reborn. All toxins in your body have been purified. All negative emotions have been cleansed. Your tendons and bones have been unblocked. Your meridians have been cleared. Your blood vessels have been opened. Your mana is gradually recovering. Mana pathways in your body have been established. You have gained affinity with the fire element. You have gained affinity with toxins. Achievement unlocked Phoenix born from ashes. Reward all stats plus 15, Purification status. Skill Toxic Immunity. Skill Poison Blood. Chang Sionol laughs loudly. He finally achieved Toxic Immunity. He eagerly opens his profile to check. Besides all old stats, significantly increased, there are new skills. Poison Blood and 2 new effects. Toxic Immunity level 1 and 3. True Flames level 1. Also, there is separate information. His physique has developed significantly thanks to acquiring new traits. Total stat increase 75. Chang Sionol smiles with satisfaction. Strength has increased. Now it's time for him to upgrade his weapon. Meanwhile, Yoon's group arrived at the apartment building where intelligence agent Cho said was Lee Chang-sion's residence. Yoon knocked on the door. Immediately, Chang-sion's mother called out, "Please come in." Yoon and her associates entered. Sitting with Chang-sion's mother was a man. Seeing Yoon, he laughed loudly and sarcastically said, "The association really is a bunch of slowpokes. But you arrived faster than I thought. Long time no see, Agent Cha-yun. That's why our people always hate your bureaucrats." Cha-yun immediately recognized who he was. He was the captain of the 2nd Assault Team of the White Tiger Guild. Behind him stood the HR director of the 5-star sword guild Black Sword or Hyung Gun. Yoon pursed her lips thinking, damn, I was too careless. While my family is entertaining strange guests, Chang Sionul is at Hangdae Street in the Sung Su complex. Chang Sionul bought a large bag of hot dogs. Then he devoured a skewer, unable to help, but praise mana recovery just can't compare to food. Sugar-glazed hot dogs are definitely number 1. Only now did Chang Sionul feel like thinking about serious matters. It was no coincidence that he was here. Previously, he had heard that the trait of the Twilight of the Gods was a master manipulator of all weapons. So Thanatos once asked you, if so, I suppose you will need many different types of weapons to use comfortably. Would you want to own a blacksmith who can satisfy you? Chang Sionul seriously asked, is there really someone who can do that? Thanatos smiled, that's Uzi, my young friend. If you want to buy something, go over there. That shop has been closed for more than 5 years, a passerby said with concern. Chang Sionul remained silent. He just stared ahead at an old, dilapidated store whose signboard looked ready to fall off any moment. He stepped closer to the store to observe more carefully. The store had been closed for 5 years, yet from inside came the scent of celestial fire, meaning a forge had been used not long ago. The god of lost beasts said he could send the fragrance emanating from those fine steel blades. The words of the god of lost beasts made Chang Sionul even more certain the forge inside was still blazing, so he didn't hesitate to break open the rolling door and stepped inside. Many types of weapons were displayed here. The god of lost beasts was even more excited than Chang Sionul. That's why the system's voice kept sounding continuously. The god of lost beasts showed great interest in the scent of the tempered steel inside. The god of lost beasts was very excited and said nowhere on earth could be as heavenly as this place. Whistling, the god of lost beasts looked around at this quality arsenal. The god of lost beasts was shouting out in joy. Chang Sionul took a walk around to look. Then he stopped when he saw a heavily corroded rusty sword. The god of lost beasts wondered, why do you ignore all the other weapons and focus on that strange thing over there? Chang Sionul didn't care. He continued approaching and picked up that sword to examine it. The god of lost beasts said, you should throw that away and pick other weapons instead. Chang Sionul kept treating the words of the god of lost beasts like air, carefully evaluating. Then a detail on the sword caught his attention. Just then, a voice sounded, who are you? Chang Sionul immediately turned around and saw a man leading a dog coming out from the back room. He was wearing large black sunglasses covering half of his face. At the same time, his hands tightly gripped the leash. A blind man, Chang Sionul thought silently. Meanwhile, at Chang Sionul's house, Mrs. Zuha was warmly receiving guests who came to see her son. She only brought out a plate of fruit and said, everyone please have some fruit. which was enough to make all 4 guests admire her elegance. Even the strict Aunt Eun inwardly admitted she really is a star. While Eun was spacing out, Jong-hun started teasing, "Even if you care about them, the value of today's rookies is beyond what the guild can afford. Every guild personally sends both the captain and vice-captain just to recruit this guy that shows some sincerity, huh? A talented rookie deserves such a welcome." Yun politely replied, inwardly feeling strange. They're not the kind of people who just show up to recruit a single new soldier like this, and on the same day, no less. Representing the White Tiger Guild, one of the fiercest fighting forces in South Korea, the Cell Assault Team Captain Jong-hun always wore a fake mustache because he believed strong men always have mustaches. The 5-Star Sword Guild started as a branch of the strong 5-Star Heroes group, and quickly rose to become one of the top guilds in the country. This is the HR director there, or Hyung-gun, who is also the uncle of one of the survivors this time, or Hee-bin. Could this be a promising rookie, or maybe even more? Surely Lee Chang-seon is holding some secret, but he is unique. If he chooses to join one organization, the other 2 will definitely go home empty-handed. She began probing Jong-hun. "I heard you're very busy with work. So are you here on a personal visit?" His rude mouth continued, "I think if I don't come here myself, someone will definitely be rude to this family. Why does your brat always like to get in the way of our business?" Yun wasn't intimidated and replied, "You're the ones blocking others. You're the ones stealing our information, huh? But over there, they're also abusing government power, aren't they? So now they're trying to poke their noses into government affairs, right?" Seeing both sides exchanging words without yielding, Mrs. Zuha interrupted, "So everyone came here to recruit my Chang-seon?" "Yes, that's right," Yoon and Jong-hun answered in unison. Then the 3 of them, Yoon, Jong-hun, and Or Hyung-gun, began to enthusiastically talk about their association and guild. Chang-seon's mother fell silent, then gently said, "Yes, I understand. But the decision lies with our youngest child, so I won't make any further comments. I just want to ask everyone here one thing. You said that my Chang-seon has been held in a prison dungeon these past days. Could you tell me in more detail everything the boy has accomplished?" Back to the male lead after Chang-seon explained his purpose to the blind young man. Uzi coldly asked, "So you want to forge weapons?" Chang-seon nodded. "That's right." Uzi laughed. "You're the joking type. Looking at me like this, what else is there to say?" The system immediately transmitted a message as the god of the lost beast nodded in agreement with what the blind man said. The god of the lost beast didn't believe that the weapons here were forged by that blind man. The god of the world's serpent exploded and told the goddess, "Just sit quietly and watch. If you came here just to laugh at me, that's enough. This forge has been closed for a long time. Let's go." Wilson Uzi said, then led his dog and prepared to leave. At that moment, Chang-seon's words made him hesitate. "Even if that's true, the forge fire is still blazing bright. The calluses on your hands were just replaced recently. What do you know?" Uzi, a bit agitated, shouted, "Looks like you're in a pinch, but at least don't starve your friend with eyes like that," Chang-seon said while looking at the skinny black dog with trembling legs from hunger. Uzi immediately fell silent because what he said was true. Knowing he was moved, Chang-seon began to entice, "Every time a part of the commitment is done, I'll transfer you 10,000 won. When everything is complete, I'll give an additional 50,000 won bonus, depending on the quality of the goods. And if the goods are better than I expect, the bonus will be much more. Check your account." Uzi skeptically pulled out his phone to check. Sure enough, Chang-seon had transferred him 10,000 won. "That's a deposit, not an advance payment. If it's not enough, just tell me," Chang-seon generously added. "More," Uzi persistently said. "Huh?" Chang-seon asked. "Another 5,000. I need to pay my overdue rent." For a rich kid like Chang-seon, money was no big deal. Just seconds later, Uzi's account had an additional 5,000 won. "So what exactly do you want me to do?" The young master Chang-seon cut off Uzi. "Yes." Chang-seon sat comfortably like a king and calmly explained, "You're the worker, I'm the employer. I pay your wages, so you have to call me boss or young master." Sounds reasonable. So Uzi didn't argue with Chang-seon's request. The money was received. Both sides began exchanging work details. So the items the young master wanted included a 5-meter-long whip, a detachable spear, 5 large battle axes, 5 small handheld axes, 4 different types of swords, and a shield about that many. Uzi seriously confirmed the order, not yet. I also want a bow and arrow set. And in the near future, I want to order a set of armor, too. As soon as Chang Xian finished speaking, Uzi's phone notified him of an additional 100,000 won in his account. The sender was none other than Chang Xian. "I can't do it!" Uzi shouted. Chang Xian calmly replied, "This is raw material money. If it's not enough, just contact me, and don't say you can't do it. The penalty for breaking the contract will be triple." "Damn this idiot! Why did I get involved in this?" Uzi couldn't help but grumble a few words. Chang Xian started to feel a bit annoyed. "I've heard those words many times already, so I'm a little tired of them. Why would you trust me? We just met for the first time." "That's true, though. This is just our first meeting. You also lost a critical point with those blacksmiths. But there's no reason for the staff to refuse the boss's request, right? You created the order and I paid for it. That's how we got to this point. Easy had to compromise. All right, I'll do it, but I can't get everything done in such a short time. It's been a while since I worked with steel. At least give me some time to get my feel back. And the items you requested are tough equipment. It will take quite some time to make. For such complex items, the bigger problem is I need a special hammer to forge the steel, but I don't have it right now. Has someone stolen your hammer?" Hearing that, Easy's whole body tensed. He gritted his teeth and said each word. "Yes, it was my father's closest disciple. After my father passed away, many guilds tempted him, so he stole the hammer and ran off." Another traitor betraying his master, huh? So where is the guild that hired him located? "Din Tian," Easy answered. "Din Tian?" Chang Sonal asked with some curiosity. This reaction surprised Easy a bit. You've never even heard of it. It's one of the top 10 strongest guilds. Chang Sional slowly stood up and then said boldly, "I'll get it back for you." "So where exactly are they?" Easy warned him anxiously. "What are you saying? It will be very dangerous for you there. Do you understand?" "It's fine. What I need to do is handle them cleanly without leaving any traces." Hearing Chang Sional's answer, Easy fell silent, but inside was screaming, "That's right, that's exactly why I'm drawn to him. I'm not sure why, but I truly think this man is not. I'm not sure of the reason, but I really think this person isn't. My master will definitely succeed." Thinking that Easy provided the address to Chang Sionul, there is a tomb located on the slope of Beacon Mountain. It is situated in Dungnang district in Seoul.